All right, peace and Black Power family. This is your host, Raheem Shabazz, and we are here for another episode of Necessary Blackness Podcast. And today we have a special guest in the building. I have my man, Moorish Chef, and a lot of y'all may know him by different names, different attributes, and the attribute best describes the characteristics of one true self. So we're going to delve into the self of Los, who's known as not only a Moorish chef, but he's known as Doula Los, or Doula Los.
Doula Los, yes sir.
Doula Los.
Yes sir.
Okay.
What's up, man?
I had to get it right on the second time. How are you, my brother?
Man, life is good, man. It's good to be black. It's good to be powerful. It's good to be amongst the people, man.
Absolutely. Now, I know you for several years. Our first encounter was during the social unrest that was happening around the country. We met on the front line protesting police brutality. I think we even go as far as back to Troy Davis. Remember that was
yes,
happening?
Sir.
We go far back as Troy Davis, Eric Gardner.
Deruba Ben Wahad down in Clayton County.
Deruba Ben Wahad, shout out to that brother, Nick Thomas.
Yeah, we've been out here, bro.
A lot of different situations. We went out there and we protested on behalf of our people. Now, we're doing different things. We still got our foot on the enemy's neck, but we're doing different things. I started doing a documentary. You started doing a whole lot of other things. Recently, we reconnected again. We shared the stage at Ulta Candy, and you had a very magnificent story to tell. And I was intrigued because I thought I knew you as a Moorish brother. I thought I knew you as a chef. But brother, you are known as a male doula, which myself and others have never heard of a male doula, a black one at that. How did you get started in that?
First off, I've always been a healer of our people.
Okay.
So when it comes to being a doula, the word doula actually means a woman who serves. So granted, everybody can, tell I'm not a woman, but if you serve the birthing partner or the birthing woman, and you do it in a place of love, and you're there to uplift her spiritually, emotionally, physically, then you're acting in the role as doula.
Mm.
So I've always been that to my people, my community, my friends who've been birthing, but I've never actually had the title. I didn't even actually know what it was when I was doing it. But then I went to nursing school, got my bachelor's degree in nursing. In nursing school, to the people who've been and the people who don't know, every semester you dive into a different aspect of nursing.
Okay.
So you may have the geriatrics, and then you do the psychiatric, and then you do the mother-baby, and then you do the surgical side.
Mm.
So the mother-baby is when I really got in tune or had the experiences that made me say, you know what, this is where I want to put a little more of my focus in. I've lived all across the United States, but now living in Atlanta, being put in a hospital on the south side of Atlanta, I got to really see what our people needed.
Mm.
And that's where it was like, you know what, seeing 20-year-old sisters birthing by themselves, no mom around, no dad, no baby daddy, and just me there as the male nurse stepping up as the brother, the advocate, the healer. And it was like, you know what, I need to figure out how I can go back to my community and fix this. And that's where the doula thing came from. After many challenges and many obstacles, that's where I found my niche, I should say.
I think that what you're doing is definitely a service to the community. When we look at recent studies that tell us that those who are birthed by black doctors have a lower mortality rate than those that are with white doctors. So it's something about the black healing hand that does something for us, that makes us able to survive. And we know a lot about medical apartheid. So I think it's very important that you do what you do. When people see you and you're advocating for them or you're speaking to them and want to become their advocate, do you get any pushback as a male?
All right. Before I touch on that, I want to go back to what you just said about the healing hand, about how we have higher success rates when we actually are a part of the process. We got to think where the study of birthing in America came from, or if you Google the father of gynecology, I think his name is Marion J. Sills. Gynecology actually started, but the study of it started during slavery, where this white man was practicing on our ancestors, had them tied up in the back of his house, and when he would wake up in the middle of the night through these visions he had, he would go manipulate and cut on our mothers and grandmothers. So, of course, the way they see it, every time they're involved with us, it's either a study or a science behind it. It's not a healing or a love behind it.
And mind you, they did this with no anesthesia.
No anesthesia, no. It was just our ancestors tied up in his backyard. And when he felt like in the middle of the night, when he had an epiphany, he would wake up and go do what he dreamed of. And it was just random, just like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, so no, and that study and the you're not going to say, of course, I'm a nurse as well, so I'm not ever discrediting the healthcare system. But a lot of people in the healthcare system are still the lineage of those same people who created the science to wipe us out.
They have the same mindset.
So just as we being killed in the street and the judges are killing us in the chambers, there's nurses and doctors killing us in the hospital. So that's why when I come to a family, going back to what you asked me about being a male, my job is to be a protector. So I got into this field. It's like, if I'm on the front line, like you said, we was on the front line when we was younger. We was fighting in different ways, but now it's like, how can I combat the enemy knowing that the enemy is a little more advanced than I knew back then? Absolutely. So it's like, now that I have the power to insert myself somewhere else and I have the knowledge to do that, it's like, look, I know that now we're being disseminated and discriminated against in the streets, but now our mothers and our sisters are really being violated in these hospitals. Like you said, they die at higher rates. So for me now, the hospital in the streets and the birthing center is my front line. So I'm advocating for my brothers, and when I come to these spaces, it's literally as an advocate for not only their significant other, but for our communities. Because we got to realize, a lot of times, we as people, we selfish. And we think when we birth the child that the child is ours. But the child is the community's. Because the child's going to go into the community, be products of the community, be raised by the community.
Absolutely.
So that's why I come and I bring that approach. Like, look, together we can change this if we look at it at a different perspective. We're armed with the knowledge, and we're here to advocate and stick up for each other. So when I come uplifting my brothers, arming them with knowledge, it's just received in a different manner.
Now, you spoke about being the protector of the Black woman and the child when it's birthed. The community belongs to the community, and the community got to protect them, right? That is something that needs to radiate with everybody in this day and time. Because a lot of times, on social media, you got individuals that says, Black woman is the most disrespected. Where's the Black man? They're not protecting the Black woman. So what you're doing, brother, is definitely a service, and I commend you for that. Now, which leads me to my next question, right? Have you ever been in a situation where you was advocating for a sister and it was someone from the other side that was probably running interference that could have been detrimental to her health, and you had to step in and say, nope, we're not doing that. This is how it should be done, and had your voice heard?
And I'm not going to say detrimental to anyone's health, but I will say...
I'm a little extreme.
No, it's all good. I just don't want to put negative light where it don't need to be shed, even though light always needs to be shed, especially with our healthcare system.
Absolutely.
But I can say a lot of times the hospitals don't use evidence-based practice.
What do you mean by that for the uninitiated? Uninitiated.
So evidence-based practice is basically knowing that through evidence, we know it's better for a mother to be or a child to be birthed squatting. rather than laying down.
Okay.
But it's more convenient for the hospital to have you laying in this bed and whoopie. Mm-hmm. So evidence-based practice is what we should go by as melanated people. But the hospitals, and a lot of times, go by their medical knowledge, and it's not always evidence-based, even though that's what they're trying to go towards now. Okay. So, Dave, what was we at? We said,
No, I was asking you to highlight a situation that you may have been involved in where you had to advocate on behalf.
So it wasn't, like I was saying, so evidence-based practice tells us what we should do when it comes to especially our people. Like, my actual experience was the nurse, I'm a student. The nurse is an African-American, middle-aged, Black female. The midwife who actually oversees the actual birth is a older white lady who's probably done seen a million births. Mm-hmm. So we have a 20-year-old, 21-year-old who's scheduled for a C-section on Friday. Wednesday she comes in and she's already having a baby. Like, she come in and the baby's almost out. So no cesarean, but she tells during her EMT ride that she had a weed brownie a couple weeks ago. Oh, wow. So the girl is in pain and she's wanting medicine and wanting different procedures. But the midwife, who's the old white lady, is saying, no, I'm not giving her anything. And myself and the Black nurse who's looking at this sister as our niece, our cousin, our sister. Seeing her in pain. We're like, no, she needs something. And the midwife is sitting in the chair. And granted, birth is a natural experience. Absolutely. And a lot of times the fear comes from not knowing. Mm-hmm. When you are educated and you have somebody, and that's why this was one of my most powerful births. And that's why I say it wasn't detrimental to her health. But even down to when the baby was born, the white midwife was like, all right, just cut the cord and hand me the baby so we can do our vitals. And I'm like, no, let's wait a minute. Just so we could delay the cord clamping so the baby could get more of what she needed from that cord. Mm-hmm. Or soon she wants to cut the cord, she wants to take the baby and put it on the examining table. And I'm like, no, let the mom hold the baby first. Let her get that one-on-one connection. That baby just transitioned into this new environment. So just ways of advocating like that and simple things like that can change the trajectory of how that baby is going. Because now when that baby first came into this world, the first thing it felt was love, not a cold space. You see what I'm saying? So knowing that birth is spiritual and is deeper than just coming out of a canal, then you're able to advocate to enrich that experience for somebody that looks like us. So that's what I try to do, down to the simple things, and not necessarily health, but holistically changing that baby's life or that family's experience.
Let me ask you something. The reason why she didn't want to give her no medication or anything to relieve her pain when she was going through birth is because of because she was indulgence of marijuana?
No, because she was in control.
Oh, so it had nothing to do with her taking the brownie?
I mean, it probably could have been her wanting to say that this girl could be taking all types of drugs, and if I give her something else, it could trigger something or reduce labor or something. So it could possibly, but I think it was just her saying, you know what? I can tell that this is a young girl. She probably gonna have a baby natural. I just want her to go through this pain because I can, and I'm a white lady and I'm in a position of power.
Wow. But that's what a white supremacy family.
That's what I felt.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to, seeing that, I'm still a student. Mm-hmm. This was actually the first birth that I was actually a part of. I don't have kids. Yeah. So I've been there for my friends during pregnancy and postpartum, actually at the birth. No, so this is my first experience. So I had to go into, this is my sister. Yeah. This is not necessarily my spouse, but I'm taking care of her like she's my spouse. I'm advocating for her. I'm going to get the rags and wipe her. Like I told the story, I wiped the girl's her eyebrows off because I didn't know they was fake when I'm wiping her eyebrows. Yeah. I'm holding her hand. I'm giving her affirmations. Yeah. I'm asking who's important to her because she's literally in there by herself. Yeah. But that's when I knew all the roles that I had to play and I had to teach my brothers to play. Yeah. So this first experience was a lot, but it was helpful in my journey. And after that, I probably had about 6 more births in nursing school alone. But doulas, and I'm talking a lot about being a part of the birth experience and actually helping in birth, but doulas don't actually help with the birth. Yeah, I love that from
from your presentation.
Okay. A lot of people be like, yo, so if I'm a doula, the doula's going to deliver the baby. No, the doula is more so the spiritual, the educational, the physical, the mental, the advocate in that aspect. The midwife or the doctor at the hospital actually delivers the baby. And don't get me wrong, some people do free births where they actually have births at home by themselves and they don't have the medical staff and things of that sort. But if they do have a doula, the doula still doesn't act in the medical capacity.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Raheem Shabazz, and you are tuned in to Necessary Blackness Podcast, and we're here with Moorish Chef. We're here with Doula Lowe. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Peace and Black Power family. This is your host, Raheem Shabazz, and I'm here with Moorish Chef Rose. And we just coming back off a quick commercial break. What's going on, Lo?
What's up, family? I'm glad to be here, man. Chopping it up. Talking about what it is to be a doula. Talking about what it is for black men to stand up and be in the rightful place in our communities, man.
Absolutely, man. Yo, our commercial break, man, we almost didn't come back, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
For real, man. We been talking some real heavy. You know what I mean? But this is his first time, but it's not going to be his last time. But like I said, man, the brother's multi-talented. And what we was talking about earlier, I think it will be a service to the community. But, we got to figure out a way where we can implement that in the community because we only want serious-minded individuals. You know what I mean? We don't want brothers that ain't really serious about this liberation of helping your people, but most importantly, helping yourself. You got to save yourself before you save anybody else. And saying that, right?
I was about to say, you just segued into what we was about to talk about, preconception health.
Yes, let's get into that.
Yeah, because when you save yourself, you save the seed. And I say that because not only am I in the medical field a trendsetter, but I'm also a trendsetter in my community. I stopped eating meat when I was 14.
Wow.
So that's 25 years ago. I told my mom the government was poisoning us through food, and I started growing food. Wherever I lived, I grew food. Wherever we were in the hood, I grew food. And I know that the best plants come from the greatest seeds. So if you got a damaged seed, most of the time I'm not going to plant that seed because I'm already living in an area where we don't get a lot of sun. That's right. I'm already living in an area where I'm sneaking growing food because the landlord don't want us growing plants. So I got to make sure I have the best seed because my conditions or my environment's not the best. So it's the same thing when we talk about birth or conception. Absolutely. And what we don't realize as men is we contribute to that seed as well. A lot of times we're like, yo, I want my girl on drugs because, she about to carry my baby. But then you want drugs. And you contribute to that seed. So with preconception health, it's like, yo, if you whole and you actually on the right path before you even think about getting that significant other pregnant, then y'all have a better chance. If y'all got y'all finances in order, if y'all got y'all mental states in order, if y'all actually affirming each other, uplifting each other, and planning for this. A lot of times in our community, it's sad, but we're accidents. The birth is an accident. And it's like, no, we got to change that. We got to educate our youth to know you're going to have a baby.
At some time.
At some point in time, you're going to have a baby. So why don't we wait until you get pregnant to start doing the things that you know you're going to have a baby for? So preconception health is basically making sure we're whole and we're one. So that way when we try to create a seed with somebody else, we're not half of ourselves in their shell of themselves. Trying to create a full seed. So that's basically when you said we got to be whole or stand up and be who we are, be whole. Same thing with the seed and preconception health.
So my next question is, what is the difference between a birth and a postpartum doula?
Okay, well, it's flowing right in order. So of course you got the preconception period, which is before the conception or before the birth. And then it's actually different stages of being a doula. You got the birth doula, you got the fertility doula, you got the labor doula, you got the postpartum doula. You may have the death and bereavement doula. Let
me stop there. Which one are you? Are you all six?
In In a way, yes, because like
It's
I said,
levels to it.
it's levels to it. And for me, right now, not only am I taking more doula classes, I'm studying under a traditional midwife. Not only am I studying under a traditional midwife, I actually got my bachelor's degree of nursing. So in different schools, you learn different things. It's almost like a Venn diagram. If y'all know what that is.
No, I don't know what it is.
All right, so it's basically like a bar graph, but in a circle form, where it basically tells you how different things equate or come together. Okay. So you may have 5 different circles, and it may be like this is 80% this, and this is 80% that. But somewhere together, these circles overlap, and 20% of 20% may make a certain percentage.
Oh, okay.
So different things overlap to make up different things, and that's what it is. But so yeah, you get different knowledge from different places, and you bring it back to make up a whole. So right now, I'm studying or actively doing the birth doula and the postpartum doula part. So I have my first labor client coming up here. She's due to be birth. Her baby's due to be born February 13th, which is funny. My first labor client is due to be born on my mother's birthday. Oh, wow. So like so many things, but like it's a deeper connection.
Divine time.
Divine time. But yes, I've been helping with the actual pregnancy and the postpartum for about 3 years now. And the good thing is I get to incorporate everything I've already do. Mm-hmm. So I am being who I am and created a business out of it. So most people as the Moorish Chef know me as taking the food that resonates with our culture but putting a healthy twist on it. Okay. So I bring that to my pregnancy clients. I teach them and their significant others ways that they can introduce foods that will help throughout the pregnancy, to help the baby get what they need, to help the mother recover after the pregnancy. So I just take things that I've learned in different ways and try to bring it to the family to arm them with tools to help them facilitate a better pregnancy and a healthier pregnancy.
All right, my final question, well, it might not be the final, but in closing, right, have there ever been a situation with you where the birth wasn't successful and the child transitioned?
No, I have not.
Okay. If a situation like that arises, is there a doula for that? Like a certain type of doula that handles that? Because I know that got to be traumatic to deal with.
Okay, yes and no, because you just explained 2 different situations, and I will speak on the importance of a doula after I answer your question. So you speak on a baby transitioning during birth, right? So if it happens during birth, that means they're not prepared for that. So they will probably have a regular doula there, or a regular midwife, and then some complication may have happened. Yeah. But after that experience, you can transition to a bereavement doula. A bereavement doula? That's what it's called? Okay, so there is someone there. There is someone. Okay. But and a lot of times, the labor doula may not be knowledgeable in that aspect, so they'll refer you to somebody who they know in the community who does that. Okay. Just like if I get I don't take white clients. Okay. I will not. My spirit, my soul, my reason for being here is not to do anything with white people. Okay. Not saying when I'm in my medical role I don't do that, but in my private practice, I'm not here for that. I'm here for my people. So if somebody makes sense, if somebody approaches me, then I gotta send them somewhere else. Yeah. And it's the same way with death and bereavement. There's even sex doulas. Like, you gotta explain that, how that works. There's someone who comes in who teaches you intimacy before the actual baby to make sure the baby's born in the right love and the right environment. Okay. Like it's because they say that if you're having sex, with your woman leading up to the birth, sometimes it's more easier for her to have the baby and things like that, right? Down to the words that us men speak to our women changes the vibration of her womb. That's why you're supposed to speak life to her womb before you even think about putting a baby in her womb. It steps to it. This is a spiritual experience. This is a divine experience. This is something that our ancestors cherished. And now through this culture, we just have it. We get pregnant, we go to the hospital, we birth our baby, we come home, we get back to life. That's no way we as our people should handle what we do. You should be reading to the baby while it's in the womb. A lot of different things you could be doing. Man, even now, I don't talk about it much, but my girl and I, we are in our preconception journey. So when I leave the house, I reaffirm her and I speak affirmation of life into her womb. I hold her womb. I get down. I talk to her. I talk to her belly. I tell her my intentions before I actually do anything. So that way it's prepared for what's coming. And these are vibrations that we need to do on a, men have such a powerful role or place in our, if we say we the leaders that we say we are, it starts with us actually speaking up for our women in the most vulnerable positions, in the most vulnerable times. And one of those times is birth.
Absolutely.
So how can we call ourselves a leader but then leave her when she's in this situation? So I advocate for my brothers to come learn, come step up, come help me on the front line, and come show not only the system, but show our sisters that we united for them.
Now, you want brothers to come, stand up, get on the front line, and assist, right? How can they get in contact with you? For those that are trying to learn the trade of being a male doula, or they want to, get one of your cuisine, vegan cuisine dishes.
And what's funny is I actually just dropped a new ebook too. It's called Beets Baby.
And it's BEET.
Beets, like the actual fruit. Beets Baby, yeah, that's the name of it. And it's actually on Doulos, Doulo, Los.com. And it's Beets. It's a simple way it's actually called Beets Baby. And the subtitle is 7 ways that beets can assist a pregnant mother not feeling beat down during pregnancy. So beets you get them for $1.79, $1.99 at the Whole Foods Market or at the farmer's market, at the local store. You juice them, and what it does is, even for the men, it helps with your circulation, your libido, things of that sort.
And it's good for if you have high blood pressure. If you don't have high blood pressure, to keep your pressure balanced.
I've never eaten a beet in my life. I could never think about eating a beet just because I don't think the beets are good. But I juice it and I make the best pink lemonade. People drink my pink lemonade and don't know it's made from beets. Wow. But back to the women, the woman, it has natural folate. So you know how they're supposed to take prenatal and folic acid.
Yeah.
Beets help with that. It helps with prevent neural tube defect. It helps with building the baby's brain up. It helps with metabolism, preeclampsia, like I say, high blood pressure. So something simple. So I create different ways, or try to teach our people different ways. They can use simple things in our community to help basically prevent a lot of things that they're trying to give us medical form or chemical forms of.
And you just use the natural
forms. It's cheaper, it's more beneficial, and yeah, it goes longer.
So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all go to Doulo.
You get my ebook, and Moorish Chef, like you've been calling me all day. Moorishchef is where I'm at on social media.
Every social media is at Moorish Chef.
At Moorish Chef. I'm working on a YouTube channel right now, but Instagram, that's where I'm more active at. Instagram is where I engage more. I'm getting more verbal, more active. I've been in school a long time, man. So the last 5 years I've just been studying, so I'm out here, man.
All right, man. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming by, man. Anytime that we get someone from the community that can come and can impart knowledge to us, it's always a blessing. And brother, I definitely gotta have you back on here. So in closing, is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you, or one last thing you want to plug?
Nah, and what's funny is I could plug myself, but I'd rather plug ways that we can help our sisters.
Let's do it.
So the one thing I would tell our brothers is make sure we pay attention during postpartum period. So if we have a baby with our significant other, after she has the baby, it's a period of, it could be anywhere from 3 days to 30 days. Well, we need to make sure we're sticking up and advocating and reading her and communicating and connecting with her. Because that's a part of the birth period too. And a lot of times we think, we heard of postpartum depression. And we think that all women are experiencing depression because they had a baby. Postpartum is a period, not a mind frame. They only go into depression when a lot of times they don't have the social support and economic support. So if we can stand up as brothers, we can help the depression aspect afterwards.
And if we there for them, they might not even go into depression.
They might not even go there if we know how to advocate, communicate, uplift, speak life into, let them know we love them, appreciate them. They just did a powerful thing
That talk, brother. That's what's up.
The other thing is breast milk. A lot of times, brothers, we don't understand how important breast milk is. So when our sisters say they don't want to do it, we just be like, okay, baby, what else can we do? Instead of figuring out why she don't want to do it. Breast milk is one of the most powerful things that our baby can have. Like what Jay-Z said, he said, my wife in the womb feed my baby liquid gold. Colostrum, that's the first thing that the mother produces once the baby's born. And it gives the baby all the vaccines, the natural vaccinations that the mother needs.
I need you to stop right there.
All right, go ahead.
Say that one more time for the ones in the back that can't hear us.
All right, so the ones who didn't hear me, who know who Jay-Z and Beyonce is, you know, the song, I think it was, I forget which song it was, but Jay-Z was talking about how his wife was in the bathroom feeding his baby liquid gold. A lot of people don't want to hint to what that is. That's colostrum. That's when the baby's first born. That's what the mother produces before she makes the breast milk. And what that does is that gives the baby the natural immunities and the boost and the protections that they need. But a lot of times, if the mother skips giving the baby breast milk, they forget to give the baby the essential vitamins and nutrients they need, or the vaccinations they need to protect them throughout their life. So that's why they have a lot of ailments and morbidity. It's because they're not getting the natural ailments that us brothers could be encouraging our significant others to do. So we need to be there advocating for them, finding out ways to massage the breasts or put cabbage leaves on to reduce the swelling or things of that sort. Putting creams on the nipples because they're going to crack or they're going to hurt. So if we sit there doing these things, then it will help the process and let the significant other know we support them. So yeah, those two things are the main thing other than speak life into our women, man.
That's right, man. We got to speak life into our women because we know that no nation rises above its women.
Yeah.
No nation.
As far as the women rise, we rise. So we got to stand up on the front line, let them know that the birth is divine, and let them know we're there to support them throughout it. Not only throughout the birth, but throughout the progression of the child's life, man. Like I said, the child is for the community.
That's right, man. We're going to end on that note, man. The child is for the community, and we as a people, we look at the word community, it's common unity. We got to have common unity with one another because we are the holders and keepers of ourselves and predicament. My name is Raheem Shabazz, and that's for us in the conclusion of Necessary Blackness Podcast. See you next week. Might not be the same time, and we might not be the same place, but it'll be sometime next week. Peace.
Appreciate you.